This is Cashology by FMBO, a podcast devoted to the art and science of managing your money. It's like school, but your only homework is living your best financial life. Class is now in session. If you're struggling to save, you're not alone. 3/4 of us save 10% or less of our monthly paycheck, and the rest of us don't save anything at all. Asked why, most people will point to the high cost of living, saying that recurring bills and expenses eat up most of their paycheck. But a pay-yourself-first approach can help you build your savings and get you on the road to following a budget. Welcome, and thanks for listening to Cashology Podcast, hosted by your guide on the path to financial savvy, me, Julie Wyans. Today I am elated to be joined by Melissa Martin, a customer care personal banker at FMBO. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to have you. I really wanted to start this episode off by having you tell us a little bit about what you do for our customers as a customer care personal banker.
Absolutely. I'm happy to. So as a customer care personal banker, I work with everyday people in different capacities, such as opening new accounts. We discuss financial welfare, and we build plans toward goals for saving money in a sense of vacation, college, needing a new vehicle, any type of those life events that may pop up that you plan for or you don't plan for. And so I talk with several customers on a daily basis, and we get to know each other, and we just kind of cater a good plan that they're able to achieve. So we set them up for success, and I'm that partner. I like to be there for our customers so that we can achieve that financial goal.
That's amazing that you see it as a partnership and you want to help people achieve, because their financial health is good for us as a bank and good for them as well, which, it sounds like from your job description, you are the expert when it comes to budgeting and specifically this topic, paying yourself first. So before we dive into the topic, let's get some disclosures out of the way.
Thanks, Julie. We'd like to inform our contestants and studio audience the rules of today's game. Let's see what they've won. Investment products are not FDIC insured, not a deposit or other obligation of the bank, not insured by any federal government agency, not guaranteed by the bank, may lose value. This podcast should not be copied or reproduced without permission. Information and statements within this podcast are subject to change without notice. The Cashology Podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to constitute investment advice or recommendations. First National Bank of Omaha does not make any representation or warranty as to the accuracy or completeness of any information or statements within this podcast. When making decisions about your financial situation, consult a financial professional for advice. Podcasts are not regularly updated, and information may become outdated. Deposit products are offered by First National Bank of Omaha, member FDIC, equal housing lender. The Cashology Podcast, copyright 2021, First National Bank of Omaha. Back to you, Julie.
Melissa.
Yes.
Help me understand. Pay yourself first. What does that mean? And how do I do it? Because I love the idea of paying myself.
Absolutely. So, pay yourself first is just another approach to budgeting. So most of us do want to save. And when we think about saving, we think about the money going in to the savings account and it staying there. However, if life happens, then you always, may have to tap into it. But paying yourself first kind of changes the way that you view it. So when you do get your paycheck, you're going to actually subtract the amount that you want to save. And it doesn't have to be a large amount. 20% is a really good amount. But if you're not quite there, then of course 10% or 5%. The point is that you just get yourself in the behavior of subtracting out that percentage and putting it in a savings account. Now, what you're going to be working with is the remainder. So that now becomes your available. So it's kind of in a sense that out of sight, out of mind. And you know that you have to budget everything based on what you have available, and your savings is going to stay intact and not be touched.
So this is a really interesting topic because it's not quite a cut and dry budgeting rule. It's more of our perspective on budgeting. It's a matter of the money that you get. Don't see it as, let me pay off all the expenses first. Think of it as, put money in savings first. Then with the extra money you have left over, cost of living, utilities, healthcare, all of that information, right?
Correct. Yes. So that is exactly what it is. You are changing your perspective so that you are truly saving. And that's what a lot of us want to achieve. And unfortunately don't always do that.
Oh, no. And it really builds up a consistent saving strategy too, because instead of saving any surplus dollars from the month, you are saving the same amount because you took it out first. That way your savings can grow at a much more expected pace.
Exactly. It's consistent. And then it becomes automatic. And that is what you want to happen. It just becomes an automatic thing. And before you know it, your nest egg is building.
Yeah. And we want our nest eggs big, right? We want to keep continuing to save so we can live the life we want at retirement or for the unexpected things that come up.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, you had mentioned 20%. And I think we've talked about it on the podcast. I've heard it as a rule of thumb for savings.
Mm-hmm.
And a previous episode was on the 50-20-30 rule of budgeting. So talk to us a little bit more about that. If anyone who's listening wants more details, there's a previous episode about that. But give us the gist of it, Melissa.
With the 50-20-30 savings plan, it is really based on what your life looks like. Everybody's different. We all have different things that we have to pay. So if you can get up to the 50%, then that is phenomenal. If you're saving 50% of your paycheck every month, as you can imagine, that's going to build quite quickly. But for the most of us, and if I'm honest, starting out, I had to do the 10%. So the 10% is a lower amount, but then as I adjusted to my new budget and what I had available, I was able to see that I could move up another 10%. And then it was 20. And then again, you just kind of readjust, because as you build your budget, you're going to find that you're going to start paying things down. So if you had bills, like if you relied on credit cards or anything of that nature, you're going to start noticing that you're going to pay those down. And so your payments are going to become less and less. So you just want to make sure that you make an effort to reevaluate where you're at and how much you can save. Because if you just stick at the 10% and then forget to go back and reevaluate, then you're not building up to the higher amounts, ultimately the 50%.
Sure. Life has so many curves in it that a budget made 2 years ago will become, obsolete today. And it's not a failure to redo your budget and say, oh, I think I need more in discretionary spending, because maybe your lifestyle has changed, or you need more in utilities and rent because you've changed where you live. And so I like that perspective, Melissa, that you gave, that the 50-20-30 rule is not hard and fast, but the breakdown of those percentages is an ideal.
Yes, and it could be a moving target, like you said. It's a very dynamic process. You can't go in with the mindset that this is going to be static, because it is going to be require you to kind of make some adjustments and adapt. But it's fun. Once you start doing it, you'll find yourself kind of addicted. At least when I work with it, and when I work with our customers, I help them kind of set up things that they like to do. Some of us really like to see the numbers. Some of us like to write everything out. Some of us like to get fancy and creative and put it on something fun, or use a fun pen. So anything that you can do to kind of bring excitement to the saving of the money, it just makes you want to do it more and more.
The one thing I did want to dive into a little bit more with this pay yourself first mentality, I get nervous, and I'm sure some listeners may get nervous about not having enough money left over. What do we do then? What's your advice for that?
Yes, okay. So yes, that is absolutely a normal and expected concern and feeling, especially with our most recent events that we've witnessed. So when you find yourself not having enough money left over, then that's a good moment to really pause and reevaluate your budget. You need to start kind of looking for ways that you can start saving that money. So for instance, paying yourself first needs to be a top priority. So you may have to adjust your lifestyle. Now, we're not talking that you're going to have to all of a sudden start doing all the fun and amazing things that, makes your life satisfying. But there are little things that you can do to cut expenses. For instance, if you stream movies, right? Do you need to have all of the movie streaming platforms, or can you get away with just one?
Yeah.
So it really is just reevaluating your lifestyle and what you really need to make this happen. And in reality, when you reevaluate your lifestyle, then you take those things and you make them goals, right? So now you're going to work even harder to get on track, start saving so that you have enough money left over to re-implement the things that you had to pause on for that short time.
You're definitely hitting close to home regarding the streaming services. I sign up for those things, or like recurring payments on just random things that I don't realize are reoccurring payments. And I think that's a great advice to kind of reassess what you're paying for every month, because you may be surprised about some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
The automatic aspect of paying yourself first, something that one of the last things I wanted to touch on with you. We've talked about this in previous episodes, but it comes very highly recommended from nearly every personal banker we've spoken to set up direct deposit into different accounts. I know I do that personally too. I suppose I'm paying myself first, but I have a certain percent going right into my savings account, another account, checking account for my expenses, right? And then another one for student loans. So when I separate those out, it gives me this mentality that money is off limits. And I just like that approach and thought I would share it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is a great approach. So yes, if you do have the ability to do direct deposit with your workplace, sometimes they will allow you to assign different accounts. However, for those of you that the workplace only lets you assign the one account, then of course you can give me a call or one of my colleagues, and we can help set you up with recurring transfers. So the recurring transfers can take place the day that you get your direct deposit, and it will pull it right out for you. And when you go in to open up your mobile app, all you're going to see is the balance which is left over with the savings already taken out. So that's another way that we can help you make it automatic.
That's excellent. I didn't realize that we had that capability, and that's incredible. Well, I think that's a great segue to wrap up our episode. And if anyone is interested in contacting a customer care personal banker like Melissa to discuss budgeting or any of your banking needs, you can visit fmbo.com, or you can call 855-696-4899. Thank you, Melissa, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was fantastic.
This was fun, and thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and keep an eye out for more Cashology episodes coming your way soon.